Let's talk about skin pigmentation. Here are the standards and objectives. Pause and peruse. Okay, pigment. Carotene we're going to talk about first. What is carotene? Well, it's an orange-yellow pigment. It's found in orange-colored vegetables like squash, like carrots. It accumulates in epidermal cells. So eating large amounts of vegetables that contain carotene can actually give the skin an orange tint. Now, this again, like a lot of things, is less evident in individuals with dark skin. So in light skin like mine, if I ate too many carrots, I would definitely get an orange tint to my skin. Sometimes this happens when parents are beginning to introduce their baby to solid foods and only giving carrots. Okay, it can cause an orange tint in the baby's skin. What is the role of carotene? So why is it important? Well, it gets converted to vitamin A, and we need vitamin A to have healthy epidermis, to have healthy epithelial tissue. We also need it for the photoreceptor pigments that are in our eyes. So yes, carrots are good for your eyes because they have carotene. What foods contain carotene? Orange-colored fruits and orange-colored vegetables. All right, now we're going to talk about melanin. That's the second pigment. Besides living closer to the equator, geographically, where would more UV protection be needed? So it makes sense. The closer you live to the equator, the more melanin would be effective to provide protection against UV radiation. But where else would it make sense that we would need more UV protection? Well, at higher elevations, the closer, like just think about it, you're literally closer to the sun. So if you think about it that way, it might help. You need more protection from UV light the higher the elevation. So if you're not used to being in a higher elevation and you go on vacation in Colorado and you're in Denver, you may end up with some sunburn from being exposed to more UV radiation. All right, melanin. Melanin is brown, red, yellow, or black. So it's produced by melanocytes in the stratum basale, and the activity increases after exposure to sunlight. So after being exposed to sunlight, it's like, hey, hey, let's go, let's go, let's go. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, make some melanin. Freckles are small pigmented with melanin spots. I have lots of them all over. Okay, my shoulders, tons of them on my shoulders. Okay, tons and tons and tons and tons. Okay, but again, only after exposure to sunlight. So, and also you can see that range. So eumelanin are the browns and blacks, and pheomelanin are the reds and yellows. What are the two types of melanin? Eumelanin, black and brown pigments. Pheomelanin, the yellow and red pigments. The role of melanin. Well, it covers the nucleus to prevent damage to DNA. So it absorbs UV or ultraviolet radiation. So UV radiation is super important for us to make vitamin D. So if we don't have any exposure to UV radiation, then our body can't produce vitamin D. So if you're always wearing sunscreen 100% of the time, you're probably going to need to take a vitamin D supplement because your body won't be producing enough. But if you have too much UV radiation, you can get mild to severe burns. And if you have long-term, over many years, long-term UV exposure, that's how you can end up with skin wrinkles and or skin cancer. So there's like a happy medium. We need to make vitamin D, but we don't want burns, wrinkles, and cancer. Okay, albinism. It's an inherited condition, so it's genetic. In albinism, the melanocytes do not produce melanin. So melanocytes are still present, so they're still there, they're just not making melanin. It results in light skin and light hair. Eyes can be light in color and sometimes even appear pink if there's absence of complete melanin. And you're just seeing the blood vessels at the back of the eye. True or false? Albinos have no melanocytes. False. Albinos do have melanocytes. They just don't make melanin. All right, skin cancer. Skin cancer. The most common form of cancer is skin cancer. There's basal cell carcinoma. It's the most common type, it's the most treatable, and it begins in the stratum basale. Hence basal cell basale. Squamous cell carcinoma. It begins in more superficial layers, so a little closer to the surface. It's also very treatable, but it can result in some deaths. Malignant melanoma, on the other hand, the least common, but it begins in the melanocytes and it metastasizes rapidly. Okay, so this one is a more dangerous type of skin cancer. There is an ABCD rule for skin cancer. The A stands for asymmetry, so it doesn't look the same on both sides. B stands for border, so it has an irregular border, so it's not circular or oval, it has weird edges. C stands for color, so it either changes in color or it's a different color than other marks, other freckles, other moles that you have. And D is for diameter, so it's too large in diameter. So it will say 1/4 of an inch or 6 millimeters, and off the top of my head, I'm like, what the heck is that? So here's how I remember it. If the diameter is larger than a pencil eraser, so you know as large as a pencil eraser, so if you can put a pencil eraser over it and cover it, that's less risky than if it comes out the edges of underneath a pencil eraser. What is the most common type of skin cancer? Basal cell carcinoma. In the basale, the stratum basale, it begins. For skin cancer, what are the 4 signs to look for? Well, asymmetry, A. B, border. C, color. D, diameter, right? Larger than a pencil eraser. Now, circulation plays a role in pigmentation. Now, as a general rule, this affects light-colored skin people more than dark-colored skin, because you can see from this illustration that here's our eyes looking at skin. So we're going to see first is the keratin layer, roughly clear. Then we're going to see the melanin layer, okay, coming from those melanocytes. Then we're going to see the layer of blood flow underneath that, and then the dermis. So if you have a lot of melanin, it's going to be blocking the view of the blood flow, okay? Blood with abundant oxygen is bright red, okay? Blood with less oxygen is still red. It's just like a deeper red, okay? Blood vessels in the dermis give skin its reddish tint. But again, this is most evident in people with light skin. So if I exercise, my cheeks get really red. Now, if you have dark skin and you touch your cheeks when you're exercising, your skin will probably feel warm, but it may not be as evident that the skin color changed. Changes in circulation and oxygenation can change the skin's appearance. So we're going to focus just on 2, cyanosis and erythema. Like pallor is being pale. Like if you get scared, your skin color might change. But again, it is most evident in people with lighter skin. So cyanosis. Cyanosis means the skin is bluish. It's most evident in the lips, the ears, and the nails. So blood loses oxygen and takes on a darker red tone, which changes the appearance of the skin. It can be due to extreme cold, constricted blood vessels, or respiratory or circulatory problems. So your lungs or heart are not working as well as they should be. Erythema, on the other hand, is where the skin is reddish. Remember, blood abundant in oxygen is bright red. And this can be due to higher body temperatures from exercise, just being hot outside, or fever. And the blood vessels get dilated. So, which 2 happen when blood vessels get larger in diameter? That's vasodilation and erythema, reddish tone. That's it. That's skin pigmentation. I hope that you learned something new today.